They told you the universe is out there, vast, indifferent, mechanical. They told you the world happens to you, that life is a sequence of events, random and unshaped, like dice tumbling across the cosmos. But that's a lie. The truth? You are not a passive observer. You are the creator, a sculptor with invisible hands, a force with the power to bend possibility into form. Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." And most people hear that and nod politely, never grasping the bomb it contains, because knowledge is limited. But imagination is your blueprint of reality. It is the raw material of the universe, the factory of futures. You are thinking thoughts right now, and those thoughts are not harmless. They are electric, they are magnetic, they are vibrations echoing into a quantum sea that listens to everything you say, silently, in thought. What you dwell on multiplies. What you imagine becomes momentum. What you believe becomes your world. And here's the secret they never taught you in school. The outer world is a mirror, not a map, not a destiny, a mirror. You don't live in the world. You live in the reflection of your mind. Your job, your relationships, your bank account, your health, all of it, reflections of thoughts you've repeated so often, they became your identity. You've hypnotized yourself into your current life. But hypnosis works both ways. If you can think your way into limitation, you can think your way into power, into wealth, into love, into genius. You are not a fixed being. You are a frequency. Change the station, and you change the song. Change the signal, and the world rearranges around you. You think success is luck? Look closer. The minds that built empires, that discovered continents, that dreamed of light bulbs and assembly lines and flying machines, they all had one thing in common. They believed before it was visible. They saw before it existed. They felt the future before it had formed. That's not delusion, that's creation. And creation begins with thought. Clarity, that's your first step. The universe cannot deliver what you cannot define. You must get crystal clear on what you want and ruthless about why. Vague goals create vague lives. Define it, feel it, picture it in high definition. What does it look like? What does it smell like? How does it feel to wake up in that life, in that body with that purpose? Einstein's theory of relativity revealed that time and space are not fixed. They are fluid, and so is your future. It is not waiting for you. It is responding to you. Your thoughts travel, they vibrate, they affect probability. You are more than flesh and bone. You are a transmitter, and every second you are sending out a signal. That signal is belief, and belief is the foundation of everything. Not just belief in something out there, belief in yourself, in your vision, in the idea that your life is not an accident, but a call to mastery. Think of every titan of history: Da Vinci, Tesla, Franklin, Disney. These men did not wait for permission. They decided. They created identities that matched the future they desired. And then they backed it with action. Belief is not passive. It is fierce. It is a war against every limiting voice you've inherited. Every doubt, every statistic, every time someone said, "Be realistic," forget realistic. Realistic is a cage built by the fearful, a prison for the gifted. You were not born to play small. You were born to bend reality. But you can't bend reality if you're still arguing for your limitations. If you keep saying, "I'm not good enough," "I'm not ready," "people like me don't make it," stop. Every time you say those things, you're placing bricks on a wall that doesn't have to exist. Tear it down. Because greatness does not come from external permission, it comes from internal ignition. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you decide. And when you do, the entire universe begins to reorganize around your clarity. So define your vision, own it, say it out loud, let it scare you, let it excite you. Because the moment you speak it, you've given it shape, and shape gives it power. But it's not enough to know what you want. You must discipline your mind like an athlete trains the body. Discipline is not punishment, it is precision. It is the decision to master your thoughts rather than be ruled by them. The world is noisy. Everyone wants your attention. Algorithms, headlines, opinions, distractions. But if you can win your focus, you win your future. Carnegie said, "The man who acquires the ability to take full possession of his own mind may take possession of anything else to which he is justly entitled." Do you hear that? Anything, but only when you take full possession of your mind. No compromises, no half-belief. That means when doubt shows up, you meet it with decision. When fear whispers, you answer with action. And action is the ultimate amplifier of belief, because every time you move in the direction of your vision, you prove to yourself that you are becoming the person who deserves it. Small daily wins. That's the secret. Wake up early. Keep your word. Do the hard thing first. Say no to what doesn't align. Build rituals that remind your brain who you are, because repetition is how you rewire reality. You don't need a new life. You need a new pattern. And when your habits match your vision, momentum becomes inevitable. That's when life begins to compound. That's when doors open. That's when things fall into place. But it's not falling, it's forming. In response to the signal you've been sending all along. You are the cause, not the effect. And it all starts with thought. And yet, knowing isn't enough. This world is full of people who know what they should do, but still don't move. Who dream big but act small. Who wait for motivation like it's weather instead of making decision like it's oxygen. The truth is this: motivation fades, discipline doesn't. Discipline is what remains when inspiration walks out the door. It's the quiet fire that says, "I'll show up anyway." It's the steel in your spine when the mood disappears, the world doubts you, and the results haven't arrived yet. Because the universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your rituals. And every ritual, every repetition, is a vote for the future you're building. You want freedom? Then structure your days with purpose. You want wealth? Then master your attention like gold. You want to lead? Then lead your own mind before you try to lead others. Einstein said, "The measure of intelligence is the ability to change." And yet most people fear change like death. They cling to old stories, old identities, old patterns. Not because they work, but because they're familiar. But nothing changes until you do. You must be willing to outgrow who you were, to disappoint the old version of yourself, to surrender the comfort of average for the chaos of evolution. Growth is messy, awakening is violent, transformation is uncomfortable. But staying small, that's agony, that's betrayal, that's spiritual suicide. You are not here to coast. You are here to rise, to stretch your mind like a muscle, to shatter limits like glass, to disrupt your own patterns before the world does it for you. And when you feel lost, when the results are slow and the noise is loud, return to gratitude. Gratitude is not passive. It's not weak. It's not soft music and filtered sunsets. It is one of the most potent forces of mental realignment. Because when you're grateful, you're not desperate. When you're grateful, you're not fearful. When you're grateful, you remember that you are already powerful. You are already breathing, already capable, already wired with gifts that most of the world will never unlock, not because they don't have them, but because they don't see them. Gratitude is the lens that makes the invisible visible. So pause, not to retreat, but to recalibrate. Look around. You've survived moments that were meant to break you. You've rebuilt yourself with scraps of courage. You've learned even when no one was watching. That is not weakness. That is resilience. And resilience is your edge in a world that bows to pressure. Because life will test you. Count on it. Plans will fail. People will leave. Markets will crash. But none of that defines you. How you respond does. Resilience is not about bouncing back. It's about bouncing forward. It's using pain as fuel, using loss as leverage, using failure as feedback, not finality. The most powerful people you admire, they were not born different, they were built. One scar at a time, one lesson at a time, one courageous decision at a time. And that same power is in you, but you must choose it. Every day is an election, and your habits are your vote. Will you vote for the version of you that complains, avoids, delays? Or will you vote for the version of you that decides, acts, and rises? The choice is always yours, and your future is not built in grand moments. It is built in thousands of micro decisions that nobody sees. So show up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because every hard thing you do sharpens the blade of your identity. Every time you say no to comfort, you say yes to character. Every time you choose growth over ego, the old you dies, and the real you is born. You want success? Then suffer the cost of growth, or suffer the pain of regret. Because comfort is the most seductive drug on earth, and the deadliest, and no one is coming to save you from it. This is your life, your mind, your moment. So stand up, think different, act different, because you're not just creating a result, you're creating you. And that, more than anything else, will echo through everything you touch. You want to know the most dangerous thought in the world? I already know that. That single sentence has destroyed more potential than failure ever could. Because failure makes you move, but arrogance makes you stand still. It tricks you into thinking you've arrived when you haven't even begun. Einstein said, "The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know." That's not humility. That's power. That's the mindset of mastery. Because masters are students first. They are obsessed with the process, obsessed with refinement, obsessed with leveling up again and again, even when they're already at the top. And that's the difference between amateurs and legends. Amateurs chase validation. Legends chase evolution. So ask yourself, are you seeking praise or seeking growth? Are you feeding your ego or your excellence? Are you addicted to looking successful or committed to being unshakable? Your answer will define your destiny. Because the universe doesn't reward what you want, it rewards what you practice. And practice doesn't just mean repetition, it means conscious repetition, precision, awareness, willpower. It means showing up like your future depends on it. Because it does. You can't fake frequency. You can't cheat your way into alignment. You become what you do. Not occasionally, but consistently. And here's the truth very few are willing to tell you. You will not always feel ready. You will not always feel confident. You will not always have clarity. But move anyway. Move when it's messy. Move when it's scary. Move when it's uncertain. Because the clarity you seek lives on the other side of movement. Confidence is not a prerequisite. It is a byproduct. You build it in the doing. By acting like the future version of you now, not someday. That's what Einstein meant when he said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Because the illusion is this, that you are bound by what you see, that you are limited by what has been. But reality is fluid. It bends to consciousness. It reshapes under focus. It yields to belief. That's not mysticism, that's physics. You are the observer. And the observer affects the observed. So what are you observing? Where is your attention? Because wherever it goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, results grow. If you focus on lack, you grow lack. If you focus on fear, you grow fear. But if you focus on vision, on possibility, on abundance, on mastery, you grow you. And that version of you, the one who wakes up hungry, who walks with clarity, who speaks with fire and acts with purpose. That version is not a fantasy, it's a decision to think in alignment, to speak in alignment, to live in alignment. Because the moment you align your thoughts, words, and actions, you become unstoppable. The world cannot resist someone who knows where they're going and moves like they belong there. So ask yourself now with ruthless honesty, are your thoughts matching the life you want? Are your habits matching the greatness you seek? Are your standards matching the future you're demanding? If not, raise them, not someday. Now, because every day you delay, you are reinforcing the old reality. And every day you act with power, you are rewriting it. This is not self-help. This is self-honor. This is not about being better than others. This is about becoming undeniable to yourself. And once that happens, you won't need to chase opportunities. They will chase you. Because the world responds not to neediness, but to certainty. And certainty is not arrogance. It is alignment between your inner world and outer actions. That's the key. That's the shift. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So become the kind of person your dreams are searching for, and watch your reality begin to bow. So now the question remains, who will you be when no one's watching? What will you choose when comfort calls louder than purpose? How long will you wait to become the one you were always meant to be? Because this life, this wild, brief, beautiful life, is not a rehearsal. This moment is the ceremony. This breath is the invitation. You were not given imagination to entertain fantasy. You were given it to architect your reality. Thought by thought, word by word, action by action. You are writing the script of your life. Whether you admit it or not, you are casting the characters, designing the scenes, building the outcomes, and the pen has always been in your hand. Einstein taught us that time bends, space curves, energy responds to perception, and most people sleepwalk through it, begging for change without changing themselves. But not you, because something in you is waking up, something ancient, something electric, something true. It's the part of you that knows you were born for impact. You were born for greatness. You were born to shape this world, not shrink in it. And yes, it will be hard. There will be days you question everything. There will be moments you want to quit. There will be voices that tell you, be realistic. But here's the final truth. Reality bends to the relentless. It yields to the bold. It obeys the one who walks in alignment, who thinks in purpose, who acts in faith long before the evidence appears. You do not need permission. You do not need applause. You do not need perfect timing. You need decision. You need discipline. You need the audacity to say, I will no longer think like the person I used to be. I will no longer act like the version of me that's settled. I will no longer build my life from fear, doubt, or shame. Because today, right now, you create your reality, thought by thought. So think wisely, speak boldly, act with sacred fire, and walk like the universe is listening, because it is.